you were baptizing people.
I baptized one of my teammates, and saw he was typing, or like bubbles popping up, and no, it turned out to be incredible. So there was like 5 or 6 of us there, and
That's so good.
we went onto a local creek, and
Ooh, the creek.
and I was I was making sure I did it right.
Had holes running through your feet.
Yes, yeah, it felt really nice, but
really,
yeah, it was cold and it was a hot day, so we got down there, and man, it's incredible to watch, and
that's so dope.
Incredible to be a part of.
What's going on, guys? My name is Blake, and I am the host of the Life Before Christ podcast. Thank you for tuning in, and I have a special guest with me today. Drum roll, please. We got Trey Mooney. Let's go. What's up, bro?
What's up?
How you doing?
Good.
Let me get the autograph.
Oh, goodness. Yeah, you don't want that.
He said I didn't know, please. No. So, tell us a little bit about yourself, man.
I'm a Montevallo baseball player.
Ooh.
And I'm a junior at Montevallo, and I love the Lord, so that's why I'm here.
Come on. So where'd you grow up at?
I grew up in Oxford, Alabama, about probably an hour and 15 minutes east of Birmingham. So yeah, that's my little hometown. Yeah. So played baseball there, obviously, because you played at Montevallo. What was that like? I mean, it was a lot of fun. I mean, it gave me a lot of skills, a lot of good friends, a lot of memories. So I mean, it's awesome.
That's dope, man. That's dope. And usually we start off with the podcast of just letting the people know your story and how you came to the Lord. And there's so many things I want to touch on in this podcast. Just knowing you for the minute that I've known you, and just not only just seeing the things that you do and things you see, I see you doing outside of church and how you're ministering to people. But I'd love for you to start on your testimony.
Right. All right. So pretty much all my life, I grew up in a Southern Baptist church. My family was very big in the church community growing up, and then I kind of discovered baseball, so they pushed me towards that, and it was really kind of tough balancing just church and baseball growing up, and it was a rough thing because you had to miss church a lot for weekend series and weekend tournaments, and that was really tough on me. So I didn't really emphasize the importance of like church early on. So I didn't realize how important it was in being in a community and hearing all that. So I believe it was in 2017, June 21st. So my parents kind of signed me up for a retreat at the church, and I think we had a huge tournament coming up. So I'm like, all right, I need to focus on this. I need to get ready for this. And do I really have to go? Stuff like that. And even though I've been in church all my life, it's something I just had to go to. Well, I believe it was the third night on June, which was June 21st. And
the exact date.
Yeah, I don't forget that date.
Okay.
They were talking on just believe the relationship with Christ and how important that is in your life and what dictates that, and idols in general. And I was with my buddies. We were in Myrtle Beach, and I was having a good time. And then I was all the way up to that moment, and then I just remember looking at them. There was a big concert after. I think Lecrae and Andy Mineo were performing after, and I was I was looking so forward to that too, like before the service. And then, man, he started talking, and I don't remember exactly who it was, but man, it just hit on my heart heavy. It's like, I can't do this. Baseball is not going to save me. All the worldly stuff's not going to save me. Jesus is the only way.
Yeah.
And it broke me. And I just remember getting up and telling my friends, I'm going outside. And I just bawled. One of the older guys followed me out. And I just started bawling. In that moment, I just accepted Jesus Christ in my heart. And that was honestly the best decision I've ever made in my life, because it just set me free. And, even still, I'm a competitive dude. Being an athlete, you got to be a competitor. But, understanding if I have a bad game, bad day, and, that doesn't define me. You know, my walk with my relationship with God and just Jesus in general, like that defines me as a person, as a human. So it's not about baseball or what goes outside, like in the world. It's just that relationship in general.
Yeah.
So that's kind of, obviously there's stuff in between, but that's kind of my story.
I'd love to know the stuff in between too.
All right, man. All right.
Hey, we're here to hear the whole thing.
All right. So right after that moment, I went heavily into just the discipleship phase, like getting poured into by older guys and just how that should look like, and eventually getting the role of just being a leader in general, like leading my own discipleship group in high school, which was huge for me.
Come to the pole.
Yeah, it's huge for me. I loved it, and giving me the skills that I have now. And so after that, like, I committed, and then I went off to college after like graduation, poured into some younger kids, and that's how it was. Just they did before me. I got to college and I was just miserable because I wasn't with my people. I was alone. I was scared and all this other stuff. And then the next year and a half almost, I met some incredible people like Logan, like when he comes out here, but I just strayed away. Like I didn't go to church a lot. Like I just strayed away in general. I mean, it wasn't like I was out partying and all this stuff. I didn't have a desire because I was just falling apart. Like what it felt like. I felt miserable, like not having, like walking and desiring that. And then it hit me like maybe like later spring, like just of this last year. And I was like, dude, I'm doing this all wrong. So, just spending some time like walking with him, reading, praying and all this. It was about June. I actually texted Logan. I was just like, dude, we got to do something about this. Like, we're getting a whole new team. Like, this is a whole new year. Like, this year's got to be different. So I texted him, like, dude, let's start a Bible study. Like, let's lead this thing. Let's get this thing going. So, that's exactly what we did. In that moment, we started group chat right after that. And, it started off with like 4 or 5 people.
Was this the baseball players?
Yeah, this was
just students.
This was baseball players, and then there was a few like golfers. Like there's some people in there who wanted to be in it. So I was like, they started off with like 5 or 6, and like, hey, and then these are people like I didn't even know had a relationship with Jesus. Like they were adding people like from our team in there, and I was like, praise the Lord. Oh my goodness, this is amazing. Like this is gonna be so great. And so that's kind of what happened. And then we did campus, and we held true to our word. And first night there was like 8 and 9. We sat in there. It was supposed to be like maybe 45 minutes. We sat in there for like 3 hours.
Ooh.
It was insane.
What time did it start?
It started like 7:30. We got done at like 10:30.
Dang.
Like, it was incredible. I was like, these guys are on fire for Jesus. Like, we're going to do this right.
That's good.
And so far, like, our numbers have fluctuated here and there. But, dude, we've been going at it strong.
Yeah, that's good, man. And just definitely... So I had to make sure.
Yeah.
Just definitely, I admire that,
Right.
Because it takes a lot to go and see where your team is. A lot of your team is gone. You have a bunch of new people, and now you're taking the stewardship role of like, hey, we're gonna create a new wave, a new vibe of like, hey, let's get these college students, let's get these college athletes on fire for the Lord, because you see a lot of times, especially in like college athletes, whereas of course you see in the movies like it's always the athletes or the jocks, they're always the partiers and all that, and then it's great to see 2 athletes, shout out to Logan too, be able to go, hey, we need to do something different. We need to remove the stigma that athletes are jocks and that they party all the time, and turn them into men of God, whether if it's baseball players, golf. Was there any other sports?
It's just, there's maybe 1 or 2 golf guys, and then just pretty much baseball guys.
Yeah,
starting off.
That's so dope, bro. And I kind of want to go into like just kind of dissecting your testimony for a second.
Right.
So I went to a Southern Baptist church.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I know if you lift your hands, you're going to hell.
No.
If you grip this when you're in the spirit, you grip the pew in front of you.
Oh, yeah.
You do that little, not the just the little right resting where it looks like you're resting your hand, but at the same time you're like, Lord, you see me. But not, so I definitely know that because I came from a Southern Baptist church. My family was actually Pentecostal, but they decided, Church of God. So they were Church of God, which is like, it's kind of like Pentecostal. It's like Baptist and Pentecostal, like had a baby together and popped out Church of God, in my opinion. But, it was funny because I remember as a kid, a big thing that was talked about was travel ball. That was, if you know, you know.
It takes so much time.
I can't stand them parents where they just their son does travel ball and all that. So I kind of want to get your opinion on that travel ball.
In general,
in which it has its good things because of like you have things like AAU, you have travel ball, you have like they don't really have travel football.
I mean, they got 7-on-7s and camps and stuff like that. So
that would be cool. But go ahead though. I would like to hear your take on travel ball.
Yeah, don't ask Logan this. He never played travel ball. Don't ask Logan that. But I'm
gonna do it just to. I never did. I thought you did because Trey said he did. You just okay.
Yeah, no, man. I have mixed emotions about it. Like at the end of the day, I don't think a lot of kids. I think we should be cautious about it, like what days are played. Now it's starting to get more into the weekdays anyways. Mm-hmm. So if it just takes out, church in general, like, make time to like go back, watch that sermon, take some notes. Like if it's going to take you away from church and being in a community, like you need to make sure you're still investing in that relationship. Yeah. But like, it's a hard topic. Like, it's a really hard topic because
I love the hard topics.
Oh, I know. I mean, as long as you, I think, obviously, you should probably be in church. Thank you. And
was that for you? No. Oh, okay. I was sure. I was like, my fault, bro.
You should be in church, but for being a baseball player, travel ball plays such an important role in recruitment and development. Yes. So you kind of have to do it nowadays. Mm-hmm. If you want to get somewhere, like get recruited by a school or like stuff like that. So
unless you're just a tremendous athlete.
Logan Samuels wasn't a tremendous athlete.
We had a kid that it was crazy. I'm not gonna say his name, but I went to school with him, and he was just like athletic for no reason. Yeah. And he was just one of those guys. I'll never forget this. He played basketball and track. Okay. Basketball, was like jumping. I kid you not. His head was touching the rim. Yeah. Like insane. He was dunking in the 6th, 7th grade. Oh God. Yeah. That's wild. Like bro was like his brother or his cousin played at Alabama. So like just athletic wise and went down in the family. And he played basketball, and he also did track, and he won I think he won state too. But then his senior year, he was like, I haven't tried playing football yet. I'd like to play football. First year, bro, there, and he just blows up. Yeah. Then ends up he gets a football scholarship 1 year in playing.
Hey, that's how it works.
And goes to I think it was Delta State or whatever.
Oh, Delta, yeah, that's in our conference.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So he was there for a year, and then he ended up just not wanting to play or whatever. I don't know along the lines of the story of that, but with my point is, especially when it comes to any sport, because you get more. looks outside of the high school spectrum.
Yeah.
Like that's the reason why the 7v7 camps are so big. Like Cam Newton camps, Under Armour, Nike camps.
Exposure. That's just how it is.
Baseball. I mean, you've got the different types of tournaments and everything. Like I remember when it was a little kid, it was the Dizzy Dean's World Series.
Oh, that stuff. That 13, 14 type.
Yeah. And then like in basketball, you got all the AAU tournaments. And then you got also in golf too.
Yeah, I mean tournaments there every weekend.
Yeah, because I actually did that. So I was actually going to be doing golf in college and everything, and like so had to do they had this thing called the BGA, so it was the Birmingham Golf Association. So they had like a tournament, and they had the Hurricane Golf Tournament. So like all across the coast and everything. But that's a big thing. The exposure is what gets you the recruits, but then at the same time it's like that okay, now I'm having to risk my relationship with God, and as a kid you don't realize it like that.
No, you don't, because you kind of just show up. I didn't think I realized it like literally until like after that moment, like 15, 16, like because you kind of just show up with your parents like, hey, we're going here this weekend, you're gonna play. Like, okay, we paid for it, like you're gonna play. But you don't realize that until that moment, like until you're a little older. So I agree. It shouldn't. I think it's a good thing, like athletic wise, but it should not take the role of like our God, like in our relationship with Him. Yeah,
it shouldn't, because I mean you have to be careful, because sometimes you can make things an idol.
Yeah, that's what a lot of being in the baseball world. That's what a lot of people do, and you see that every day, and that's something we, like in our small group, like we have to dictate, because they're like, Trey, like how do you. Like, you never get mad, like, after an outing, like, or something doesn't go your way, like, on the baseball field, like, because I just don't care. Like, baseball is not, that does not define me. And they're like, I know, but you still have that competitive nature. I'm like, I do have the competitive nature. It's just baseball does not define me. So I'm not going to be upset about something that doesn't define me.
Yeah.
And I was preaching to them, like, baseball or any sport in general should just be a platform, if anything. Like, this is what our platform is. Like, so, like, one of our captains he's in our small group. I'm like, dude, you have one of the biggest platforms on this team. You can make one of the biggest differences we have. Like, dude, take this seriously. Like, and I know he is. He's a great guy, super guy, very devoted Christian, and I'm super proud of him. So, just in that general, having that platform, like, a lot of people are going to look up to him, and he can reach those guys. He's vocal. He can reach. Like, that's kind of how I'm trying to go about that, just in sports. Use it as a platform, not as an idol. So.
Yeah, and it's one of those things of where we kind of get into this motion, and it actually transitions into our adult life sometimes.
Yeah.
Where it's like an early age thing of like things starting to be put before God. And then you kind of get to that older position. And like, I had the same issue of where like, and I mean, I know this isn't along the same lines of like what it is, but at the same time, like, like even as I got older and I'm married, like during 21 days of prayer, I got convicted because the Lord's like, you can spend 2 hours playing Xbox, but you can't spend 10 minutes in the Word with me.
Exactly.
And I was like, oh, Jesus. I'm like, please don't do that, Jesus. But no, like, it was real because like he started like showing me, and still is. Like I literally, so how I talk with God is I write. I used to write, but then my hand cramps. So I just like type my notes and everything.
Man.
And I just put it on Do Not Disturb, all that. And one of the things that he kind of like told me lately is he was like, he's like, you struggle with certain things in your life, but the things that you fill with the void that you're kind of feeling, whether if it's social media, whether if it's like TV, whether if it's like, honestly, like even apps on the phone too, like, or the internet or whatever, like it's like it's a gateway. Yeah. And because, I mean, like I was talking with somebody last time on the pod about this, about social media. And like social media is so toxic.
It is. So toxic. It could be a good thing. It could be a very good thing, but
it's turned toxic.
It's horrible.
Yeah.
It's horrible.
It's turned into the best way I can describe the transformation of a social media platform that went from good to bad is OnlyFans. OnlyFans, and I know this is a sensitive topic, but I'm going into it. OnlyFans was actually created as a subscription services for like selling different types of like, would you say like master classes in a sense, or like different types of like financial things? It was like creators that were doing good stuff, but you had to pay a subscription for it.
Right. I assume kind of like how Patreon works.
Yes. Yeah, so kind of like that.
Yeah.
But then the porn industry was like, oh, well, we found a new platform that charges subscriptions. Well, looky there. And then OnlyFans was like, didn't even care about the morals. They just went with the money. Yeah. And granted, they're making bank right now. You know, but at the same time, it's like something was, and it goes back all the way to the beginning of time,
right,
where the enemy perverted something that was of God and turned it into not God,
right.
And it's this consistent thing, and there's things that like we have to understand, and boundaries that we have to understand of like, hey, it's great to have social media, like honestly, like okay, let me go on this. It's great to have social media, but it also is depending, are you making it an idol? And whether if that's social media, whether if that's video gaming, whether if that's also, and going into just say people, whether if our some people in our audience is in high school or middle school, or parents of like, is your child or are you making the sport more of an idol than I wouldn't say occupation.
Yeah.
But like
just hobby in general.
A hobby.
Yeah.
So that's my take just on like in general when it comes to that. And at the same time, you know, you also want, and then speaking to like in parents in a sense, you also want your kid to have opportunities too.
Right.
But I think the question, and it wasn't even really until my parents talked to me about this, were like, Blake, we never really asked God what He wanted for you.
Yeah.
And I think that's a big thing, because sometimes we want to create, and this isn't even just for parents, this is for us. We want to create opportunities for people that maybe that's not what God has for them. But I kind of wanted to, and just touching on that, I kind of wanted to get into, as we're talking about, as we've talked about when it comes to athletics and tribal law and all those things, it also kind of correlates on the flip side with family.
Right.
Because family's always been a part of your life.
Yeah.
Whether if it's whoever has been that's poured into your family. Yeah. I know for me, when it came to sports, one of the biggest people was my grandfather. Yeah. And it was funny how you were talking about like when people were like, how don't you get mad? Like, why don't you get mad and all that? Yeah. It was funny. I was on a golf course one time. I shanked a shot so bad.
You can't get mad in golf, man. That'll tear you down. And I know that.
And man, like I shanked it so bad, and I was hitting my club on the ground. Yeah. And I was cursing all that. I believe I can't do nothing. And then I remember my grandfather was just sitting in the car, and he was drinking a Gatorade, and he just started laughing. And I was like, what are you laughing for? And he was like, I don't understand why you beating the club. I was like, what do you mean? He's like, the club didn't do it, you did. No. And I was like, I don't want to hear that. And then when it made me realize, like, I'm getting mad about something that has nothing to do with the situation. Yeah. And I can learn how to control my reactions. I can't control the actions around me, but I can control my reaction. Mm-hmm. And my reaction can also turn the events of that action that's happened. Right. So, like, for example, I think that also that moment played a lot into my life. And I don't know if, and I think obviously for moments like that for yours, it played into your life. And I kind of wanted to get into what was the moments, or what was let's just talk about your family in general, and then we can go on that of just like how your parents impacted your life and whether it's your parents, grandparents. Do you have brothers and sisters?
I have a little sister.
I thought you had a sibling. Yeah. Yes.
But honestly, my whole family in general poured into me. So my dad's side of the family was really big in athletics, so they were always pushing me towards that. But
Yeah.
I would say just in general, like them doing it right from the beginning, like putting me in church, like doing that, like I'm so grateful for
That's
that
cool.
and like our relationship as a family and all in all, like although like we didn't do it right for a long, like we probably still not doing it right, like as a family, like we kind of all over the place right now, but just going to church together, like early on, like them doing that for me, like I was so grateful for that, like them signing me up for that, the camps and all this stuff, like little Jesus working slowly on, like the Holy Spirit just pouring into me, like slowly, and the relationship I have with like my grandfather and like my grandmother's, like my grandmother and them every day, like helping me realize, like, it's just a game. Like, why are you mad? Like, just like it's just a situation. It's just an outcome. Like this, like don't get mad. Like them shooting encouraging verses to me, like when they know I'm struggling, like stuff like that. Like college taking a beating on me. Like my grandmother, my mom, my dad, and even my little sister, like them like just sending me encouraging messages and Bible verses, like this is, get through this, pray about it, stuff like that, like them pouring into me, like all of my relationships with my family, like in my life now, I wouldn't trade it for the world, because they're such an influence on me. And me and my little sister, like we have probably one of the best relationships you could have, like brother sister duo.
That's
like we
good.
talk every day, like we make sure we're okay. And me being the older brother, like I want to pour into her, like I want to make sure she's okay, and I want to make sure she's taking steps that I wish I would have took at her age, being 17.
When to beat up people too.
Yeah.
Gonna beat up them boys.
Yeah, I'm a little protective over her, but
How old is she?
She's 17. She's coming to Montevallo with me next year.
That's good.
She's gonna play softball, so I'll be
Really?
So I'll be able to keep an eye on her too. But
make sure you
keep them boys off. Yeah.
Yeah.
Get away from her. But no, super grateful for all the relationships I had, and like just seeing how hard times, like how my family deals with hard times, is one of the biggest things. Because we lost my grandfather right after my first semester of freshman year. So like I was going through a hard time already.
And that same thing.
Yeah.
Same thing. I lost my grandfather a couple years ago.
Yeah.
So I understand that completely.
It's one of the hardest things we had to go through as a family. My grandmother, she was like I said, she would shoot encouraging messages all the time. Like that broke her, because they were together for so long. And just seeing how she handled that, like after, with the grief and the pain, how she didn't turn towards other things, and just seeing how she, ultimately just turned straight to God. And that was one of the most encouraging things I've ever seen. Like her being so brave and her being so strong, and just how the Lord's worked in her life and how she's pouring into others now.
Yeah.
Being the grandmother after the head of the family, just he passed away, and that was something I've always just admired, just how strong she was in that, just how basically just the closeness of our family. Like wouldn't trade it for anything.
Yeah.
Very blessed to have.
Yeah. I come from, I am half white, half Italian.
Really?
So I have the white side of my family and the Italian side of my family. White side of my family, like I said, very close-knit. Now the Italian side is like different.
Yeah.
Like family is everything. That's a common statement. Family is everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I would say the biggest thing for me during that time. So same thing with grandfather.
Yeah.
My grandfather, man, if anything, I'm so glad he's where he's at right now.
Yeah.
And I say that not in a morbid way, but I say that in because he started off 10, 12 years ago. No, I'd say about 12, 13 years ago. He had his first heart attack.
Yeah.
And then from there, things kind of went downhill.
Harder
Just
on.
like him, because he had smoked so many years.
Yeah.
He also worked in the pipe, so there's tons of asbestos. Then he was in the military too, in Korea. So like he was just around it.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I remember about that time was that last talk I had with him.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget it. They were like, doctors told us, they're like, yeah, there's like a 20% chance of him living. And I was like, that's rough.
Holding it in, yeah.
And so I remember I went to go see him before the surgery the night before. And I was like, I called him Papa. I was like, Papa, I was like, how you doing? He's like, I'm doing great. I was like, really? I said, even though you know, like, this could be your last time? He said, yeah. He said, Blake, he said, every cowboy's got to have their last ride. And he said, I think this might be my last one. And I've never heard him say that.
Yeah.
I remember before every surgery, he would always, like, literally always say, I'll see you later. I'll see you later. And I was like, you sure about that? You sure about that? Because the odds are not good right now.
Yeah.
And I just remember those in the waiting room, like, is he gonna make it? He made it. And I remember he made it from the surgery, and I was like, you were wrong. And then that next week, he started going downhill, and I was like, oh my God. And he just slowly started going downhill, and we think he maybe had a stroke. Just during that time while he was there, because I remember just the last times, like that last night and everything, and we were sitting there, and he just wasn't there mentally. Yeah. And his heart rate was dropping down, and I was like, of course it was an emotional time at the time, because he was, my dad consistently worked all the time. And which wasn't a bad thing. He was providing for our family, and he was helping me get the opportunities to do as a kid that some kids couldn't be able to do. And it was just definitely a blessing on that end, and him pouring into me on the weekends. But my mom kind of having to take that role of like being, not a single mother, but doing things her working. And at the time, as a kid, I was diagnosed with epilepsy. So that's another thing in itself. So they literally stepped in, and they told my parents, hey, we get you after work, and we're going to help you and help you as much as possible in raising him. And so them working together and then seeing that, it did take a toll. But the most crazy thing that happened with that, and I'll never forget this, I haven't talked about this yet, but on the pod, was we're around the bed and heart rate's dropping. And man, I was like, this is it. Yeah. And got his hand and everything. And I remember my uncle was like, I don't know why the Lord's telling me to pray right now. And so he was like, Lord, if it's your will for him to stay alive, keep him alive. But he's like, if it's your will for him to see you, and I kid you not, as he said, to see you, I just saw his heart rate go. And he said, if it's your will for him to see you, then let him enter the gates of heaven. And as soon as he said heaven, and the crazy thing, right? I remember looking at him, and he's looking up at the ceiling. And I remember I just started busting out crying. Yeah. And I remember Naya was there in the room, and she's crying, and she's like, it's okay, he's in a better place. And I remember I told her, I was like, I'm not even sad. Yeah. I'm like, if anything, this is tears of a little bit of sadness, but more joy. Yeah. Because what we just witnessed in that moment was God taking that pain away from him. Exactly. And during that time, during COVID, we had a lot of our family members die. Yeah. We had this one lady named Aunt Becky. And Aunt Becky was just Aunt Becky. Yeah. Aunt Becky was the loud Italian that you could hear a whisper all the way across Walmart. What? That type of loud. That's wild. Yeah. So we automatically said, yeah, he's having a great time with her, planning a party up there. Oh, yeah. But yeah, just getting into that point of just family, man. Family is so big. And you just go statistically, and go into like a lot of kids that come from single parent homes are more exposed to being incarcerated
Yeah.
or addiction. And that's why it's so important
Right.
to have two parents in the household.
Right.
And your parents being able to do that, and your parents laying a foundation of God at an early age,
Yeah.
is definitely admirable because admirable. There we go.
Yeah,
I can't say the word.
That's good.
Because a lot of the kids these days don't have that, and I'm also in the same boat as you. Is just lucky to have my parents be able to set that foundation, even though things went on when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Them setting that foundation was what got me to here,
Right.
because I would have known where to look to.
Exactly.
Because, like, I mean, if anything, this is kind of what they did in a sense. Like, even though I wasn't really had a relationship with God,
Yeah.
they posted a sign.
Yeah. They planted the seed. They just put it there.
And so that way, when I was in my darkest moment,
Yeah.
and I remember I was crying my eyes out, I remember, hey, I had this, like, picture, this Bible verse in my room. I remember, like, I was crying one night, and I remember I looked up and I saw it, and I was like,
Yeah.
I hope you're with me. And that was when, that's a whole other story another day. But going into your family, man, and I know as a man, our fathers make a big impact on us. My father did. How would you say your father made an impact on you?
I'd say the way he provided in general. Like him, he's a very hard-nosed man. Like he's not very emotional for the most part, and he's just stern man. But like for me, it was more so showing me in any aspect, like the work ethic, and then just the way you carry yourselves like around other people. He's a big like introverted guy, but like carrying yourself with like the godly standard behind it, like understanding you're an ambassador, you're representing Christ. Yeah. Like you got to do that. And although he didn't do it perfectly all the time, but because of the way he was being this hard-nosed guy, we were complete opposite people. Complete opposites. But no, the way I see him, like the way he poured into me and the way he carried himself is what I admired most about him. Because he puts his all into everything he does.
He pushed you.
He pushed me. He pushed me more than anybody's pushed me ever. So, and I'm super grateful for him now because he's helped me realize like how blessed I am and how easy I can go about it because he pushed me.
Yeah. And how would you say your mom made an impact in your life?
Me and her are the same person. So I'm the opposite of my dad and I'm the same person as my mom. I'd say just choosing joy in every situation. Yeah. Seeing the way she chooses joy in hard times and the way that she goes about joy in every aspect, like representing that to the fullest of the love of God.
Big baseball mom vibes.
Big baseball mom. She's a very giddy person. She's always laughing. She's always smiling. Yeah. I'm the same way. Always smiling, always laughing, always trying to see the best in others. So, and I'm so grateful that I have her, and it's weird. My sister's like my dad, and I'm like my mom, like personality-wise. So it collaborates really well.
I understand that. So my personality is like my mom, but I look exactly like my dad.
Yeah, that's kind of how we go. That's kind of how we go.
That's funny because I remember my mom was like, personality-wise, she's like, you're so much like me, but she's like, you didn't get 1 ounce of me looking like. I was like, nah, I didn't, not at all. Yeah. I was like, I'm kind of glad because you're like 5'5". My dad's 6'5".
Oh so. Yeah.
I was like, I'm glad.
Yeah, you don't want him with the 5'5".
No short man vibes. I can't do that. No, but I kind of want to go back and like I said, like kind of throughout this pod, I like to dissect testimony and take it in little parts. So the other thing that really hit me was discipleship. Right. And how you talked about the Bible study. You talked about how you're able to disciple. I would love to hear like the process of that and like where it began. I know you gave a little bit of insight into it, but the grit and grain of like, hey, what was that like?
I mean, for the most part, everybody was just really accepting. Like, I knew of some people like on the team that had a relationship with God, but we just never did anything about it. Like, and I told, like I said, no.
Sorry.
Like I told Logan, I was just like, we got to do something different, man. Like, we got to do something. So I texted them separately first, like, hey, would you be interested in doing this? And then, so that's kind of how it formed. It was original 6, and then they just started adding people.
The Ridiculous Six.
Pretty much. That's an interesting movie.
It really is.
It's an interesting movie. But yeah, man, it started off like that, and then we just kind of made it happen. Like, we just all showed up, and it was funny to see, because like right after that first Bible study, man, our group chat would just light up. We end with the challenge for every week. I think it's like some of my favorite challenges that I've left with whenever I lead is I said in the morning, wake up, bone aside, thank the Lord for another day and another opportunity to represent Him. And then like my absolute favorite, I'm big on this. Man, take out 30, 45 minutes. Just go outside in nature somewhere. Like me and Logan found a pond on a snap map. And so I drive back there.
I thought you said for a second that you fell in a pond.
No.
I was like, how does that happen? Like, you were just saying found a pond.
Yeah, we found a pond in the snap map. And so I'll go back there, I think, probably 2-3 times a week. And that's where I do my quiet time, and that's where I'll sit outside, like on my tailgate, and I'll just sit there. And I was preaching this at like a younger age, like by a youth pastor of mine, and it's probably right after I got saved. And it's like, go outside and admire like God's work. And then he said, after you admire it for a little bit, like just flip to a random page in the Bible and just start reading. So that's kind of like I challenged them with that in my small group, and you get feedback from that, and then we send songs in there all the time, like songs we like and like worship music. And
What's your favorite worship song? I know it's a tough one. I have a list, and I have my top 10, then I'm like, oh, I got 5 other honorable mentions.
Yeah, mine changes throughout the week. I'd say, honestly, just So Will I. So Will I is just such a good song, man. It's such a good song.
So good.
So that's mine for the week. I've had it in my head all week. So
what did I say was mine? Hold on, because we had talked about writing a list down. Hold on. Oh yeah, mine was Here As in Heaven. Oh, I'm literally pulling it up. Oh. So as you can see in the camera, here is my list right here of just like me being indecisive. And then, it turned into 6. The
honorable mentions.
The honorable. Now, I'm going to tell you this. Number 5, right here. New Wine. Okay, now New Wine by Brooke Lidgerwood is good. But the one with Tribal and Maverick City has got
to check that out.
And Montel Moore.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
I'm going to have to check that out.
Like, it is crazy how it is crazy just how good it is.
Yes.
It's one of those that it'll make you cry.
Exactly, dude. And
I love those.
It's like when you watch I Can Only Imagine for the first time, and then you listen to the song right after. It's like, oh my goodness, this
Jesus, Jesus, help me.
We stretch, and that was another thing. Along with prayer, I stretch. We kind of stretched to that group pretty heavily. Is like the importance of like worship in general. So like that was another challenge I think Logan left them with one week. Is just like when you're in the shower or like you're in the car, like listen to worship music rather than like anything else. Like the importance of just driving around worshiping, like see the change in your day, see the change in how God's working in you that day. He may lay something on your heart right then.
Well, one thing a lot of people don't realize, and we had a music producer on recently. Christian music producer, and he was talking about like how first off, music is such a big thing when it comes to God.
It is
because I mean the music involves words, and God spoke life with words.
Yeah.
Now and then this is just a whole nother topic for another day. He spoke everything in words, but he handmade us and breathed life into us. Yeah. Is it Yahweh that means breath?
We just did a
Ruach.
We just did a whole study on it.
We just did a whole study on it. I know Yahweh is like breath, but
Yahweh means I am.
Okay, Yahweh is I am, but is it just Ruach that's breath?
The breath of God that hovers over the water, that's usually translated as spirit or presence.
Okay.
Is Ruach.
Okay.
All right, I'm getting it mixed up.
They put it as presence, I think, in the study.
Yeah. No, but like, that was the thing, like, and that's just a whole nother topic, another rabbit hole for another day. But now, like, I've noticed, in secular music, a lot of the music is dark.
Yeah.
And it's not even in just like rap and hip hop, but it's also in just like pop, country,
all of it, yeah.
And like he was telling me, he was like, the reason why is he said because the dark music makes you feel a certain way and it becomes like an addiction, like a drug. Like, oh, you gotta listen to the next one. Like I was so big on Travis Scott back in the day.
Oh yeah.
Before the portal, before the portal and before the people. Yeah. But like I remember like Astro World documentary came out. I was so lit. I had his shirts. I had posters on the wall. I had the Reese's cereal box. I was saving up for this first sneakers he dropped.
Oh yeah.
Like I was I had the I didn't have it. I was going to buy the action figure from like his like fourth album where he's on the monster truck.
Oh yeah.
I think it was, I can't remember the name of the album, or it's like something rodeo, Days Before the Rodeo, something like that.
Couldn't tell you.
But basically like it was the thing. I was like, what's up? But like it was crazy like how I look back at it and like those songs spoke so much death.
Yeah.
But when you listen to worship, it speaks so much life. Yeah. And
that's incredible.
That's why worship is so powerful, because it speaks life into your life.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, go ahead. I just had to bounce off that because you're saying some great stuff, and I'm like, hold on, let me bounce off.
You're right. Go for it. Nah, man, that's kind of what we've been telling our guys, and they've been phenomenal. Like I said, we bounce songs. We'll all listen to it. It's incredible. And I mean, even game days, I walk in with AirPods, like I'm about to pitch, and I'm just like, they're like, what you listening to? I'm like, what do you think I'm listening to? And it's just worship music. So
I'm listening The Pure and Holy by Motion Worship.
Yeah, literally. I was like, I'm listening to Gratitude by Brandon Lee. But it's worship.
Man, and I want to also touch on the discipleship part. A lot of people don't know about this, but I'm about to say it. So I heard recently, and then you got put up on stage about.
Oh goodness.
Okay, John the Baptist.
Man.
You were baptizing people.
I baptized one of my teammates, and so.
I would love to hear this story.
Oh man, I went to a church service by myself like on a random Sunday, and I was just like, okay, I'm gonna be lazy this weekend or today after church. I'm just gonna go back and take a nap. So I take a nap. It's about 2:30, and I get a text. or a phone call, or I think no, it was a text. He texts. I get on my phone and I get a text from our buddy, and he's actually one of our captains, and he's like, man, like, I've been living in straight sin, like I can't, I want to rededicate my life to Christ, and he knows I want to be baptized, and so I was like, that's incredible. He goes, he texted from 5 or 6 of us, closer friends, and he's like, but he goes, I want you to baptize me, and I'm like, okay. I just woke up from a nap, so I'm just like, dude. What is this? What is this about?
Said, oh, brother.
And then, that's pretty much what it was. And I didn't know what the conversation was going to be because I saw he was typing or bubbles popping up. And no, it turned out to be incredible. So there's 5 or 6 of us there. And
that's so good.
We went onto a local creek. And the creek. And I was I was making sure I did it right.
Tadpoles running through your feet. And
Yes, yeah, it was actually it felt really nice. But
Really?
yeah, it's cold and it was a hot day, so we got down there, and man, it's incredible to watch, and
That's so dope.
incredible to be a part of. And I was very thankful that he asked me to be there first off, and let alone like me, actually dunking him under the water and just seeing that new life in him after that, and that drive. Although like there's stuff that goes on outside like that he's still maybe battling, or people like we all go through stuff, and just seeing how he's trying to turn to God. So I was not expecting that on that Sunday, but yeah,
That's crazy.
I got up on the stage the next week, and I was like, oh goodness.
I remember. I don't know who told me, but somebody told me, "Hey, bro, I think it might have been who was it? Doesn't matter who, but I just remember I'm sitting there and I'm talking to the guys and everything, because I remember it was I think it was me and John Marks and a couple of John Marks, Daniel, all them. They're like, "Yo, did you hear about Trey?" Like, what are you talking about, bro? Did you hear he baptized somebody? I said, "Okay, John the Baptist."
Yeah.
Okay, like you baptizing people right now. I was like, let me get this story.
I was just not gonna say anything. Like I wasn't gonna bring it up, but then we all got in that huddle, and Logan, I think, got a shout out that week, and Logan said something. He's like, "Yeah, I mean, praise God, like something also incredible happened, like." Trey over here, I'm in the back because I haven't joined the dream team at that point. I'm just sitting there like, because I was like, do I need to be here?
I remember that.
Yeah, and he's like, Trey baptized somebody like this week. He baptized our teammate, and I was like, and then everybody started clapping. I was just like I was in shock. I was
said,
like,
you weren't supposed to say that.
I was like, I don't care if you tell people. Like I didn't care, but it was funny.
He's like, ugh. Man.
It's such an incredible just. The way this year's started off for like us as a team and like brothers in Christ over at Montevallo, like it's truly incredible to see. And the way they're eager, and you can tell they're eager, and just being in a brotherhood.
That's so good. That's so good. I just applaud you for that, bro, and like just how God's using you and Logan right now.
Yeah.
And I would definitely say, like, with that, with great power comes great responsibility. Yeah. Shout out Uncle Ben. Yeah. It was either John the Baptist or Uncle Ben. I don't know which one of the two. Don't quote me on that. But nah, like, just like with that, leadership wise. Yeah. It comes great responsibility in seeing how you two are stewarding and shepherding these guys. It's unbelievable. And
I want to shout out Mike. Like he's the guy that like we baptized. He leads some too, and he's a big contributor.
Really? To shout out Mike.
He's a dog. I love him.
Shout out Michael Scott, bro.
Yeah. No, I just don't want to leave him out because he's been a leader sometimes here for us too, and I'm super grateful that he's a part of that. Yeah, he's the most energetic person I've ever met.
Really?
Yes, he is awesome. If you ever come to a game, you will not miss him.
Okay. Is he on the field or in the stands?
No, he's a pitcher. He's one of our pitchers.
Okay.
He's one of our pitchers.
I was like, have you been to the SEC baseball tournament?
Not in a while. It's been a long time.
Do you remember back in the day when? Did you ever go to an LSU game?
I had tickets to LSU Florida whenever they played 3 years in a row. It felt like so. Yeah.
Do you remember the LSU guy?
Yeah.
That one LSU guy that pumped up the crowd.
Yes.
That's what automatically went in my mind.
That's him. That's him.
That's him.
That's why I said he's so vocal, man.
He's the Peter.
He's the Peter. He is the Peter.
He is the guy that will slice off somebody's ear.
Yep.
Out of love. But man, this is it's great. Just like I said, it's great seeing athletes. It's a big passion of mine.
Yeah.
Just seeing athletes, being able to be examples of what Christ is. It goes back to the time of Tim Tebow.
Yeah.
And that's where it starts. I mean, and it's been there before, but like the big wave started.
Because that's when the media kind of lit that up, and he had the biggest platform in the world at that time, and you saw what he did with that.
Mm-hmm.
Seeing him speak in person too. That was probably one of the most incredible sermons.
You've seen him speak in person too?
Yeah.
When did you see him speak in person?
I think it was my senior year of high school. We were at a retreat in Gatlinburg, and he spoke. And
Wait, what was the retreat called?
maybe Extreme.
Is it like a conference?
Yeah, it's a conference.
So I got this was this past year. I got a flyer for that.
Really?
Yeah, I think Pastor Stephen Chandler was going to speak there.
Yeah. I think it may have been.
Because I was, because the reason why I remember was because a couple of weeks before I had met Stephen Chandler and everything and got to talk with him. Great guy, by the way. And one of the most down to earth people. I have like a few pastors that I've like talked to, like when it comes to like big name pastors that are the most down to earth people you will ever meet.
Right.
But hitting on that in just a second. I remember that.
Yeah.
Because I didn't get to go. I didn't get to go as a kid because I had stuff going on with sports. But I remember they used to have the winter retreat.
Yeah. The winter retreat.
Retreat. I remember that junk.
When he spoke, man, I was in awe because like he spoke about, I can't remember it all, but like his stat line lining up or one of his maybe playoff games, the first game, like the stat lines lining up to like 316, 316, 316.
He talked about that.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Well, he talked about that on a pod it's either a pod that
he wrote a book. I know he wrote a book on it.
Yeah.
Because we were talking about that the other day.
Yeah. But I heard him speak. So I went to Winter Jam.
Winter Jam. I loved Winter Jam.
Yes. I went to it this past year because I wasn't really wanting to go to it that for real. Yeah. But then Naya had been wanting to go to it ever since she was a kid. And I was like, okay, we can go. And then they had John Reddick there. Do you know who John Reddick is?
Sounds familiar.
John Reddick, guy turning it around with Church of the City.
Okay, yeah.
They had him there. They had Torrin Wells there.
Oh yeah, I've seen him perform in college. Yeah. He's good.
I met Torrin Wells actually. Really? I have a photo. I'll pull it up later. But I have a photo. I met Torrin at Art Conference.
Wow.
I thought he was going to be singing there, but he's actually starting a church.
Really?
He's literally starting a church. I think it's a state, Tennessee, Texas, can't remember.
Really?
But man, and just going back into the athletes and everything, and just Tim, he set the tone.
Yeah.
For being a Christian and an athlete.
Yes.
And showing that you can be both at the same time. I mean, you go back to the documentary that they just came out on Netflix. Yeah. They didn't really go into it, but that team was dark.
They were full of criminals and stuff.
Bro, they were murderers, criminals.
Then you got Tim Tebow.
And then old Timmy leading the charge.
Yep.
I mean, and that's not even the players. You had the coaches too.
Yeah, all of them.
One was doing domestic violence.
Wouldn't surprise me.
And then the other one was cheating on his wife, and I was just like, bro, this junk was crazy, but it shows how God can use people in the most darkest places. Yeah. And that's someone I would love to have on the pod one day.
Oh, imagine.
Bro, I would lose my crap. Tim, if you're watching this.
Yeah, hey, come on out.
Please. Please. Nah, man. But just kind of going into, so since we're in athletics, and I know you talked about athletics, we're kind of that transition of discipleship and athletics, and how those correlate. We're already talking about that.
Yeah.
I mean, I would say discipleship mixes with your faith and everything and all that. I would love to see what is your point of view on the differences and the things that correlate with them.
So, just faith and athletics in general, right?
Yes.
Okay. I would say, kind of to go back on that. It's the way. I mean, faith is faith. So, believing in that.
Yeah.
So I just say the way I see how it correlates is you live out your faith and use athletics as kind of like a building block.
Yeah, so like a foundation.
Yeah, you use athletics faith will be the foundation, and then you add on the athletics to it. That way, like you show you're living out your faith, and that's kind of how I kind of view that. It's just you got to use that like I said as a platform. You got to use the athletics in a sense and everything, because being on a team, I'm with like 46 other dudes. Like they're gonna see you every day. So like, you have to understand you're representing something more than yourself. And that's kind of my view on it. Is you can't. They're not hand in hand. Faith's always going to be bigger than athletics. No matter, it's not even close. So you got to live out your faith, like while being in athletics.
So the Lord put something on my heart for you as you were speaking. You have such a gift of being a shepherd.
Yeah, that was. I think that was my highest, the spiritual gift.
Really?
Yeah. That's
crazy.
Whenever I took the little test, that was shepherding.
The disc.
Yep.
Yeah.
Shepherding's my number one, man. So.
Well, because I've just seen, and some people have this gift, and it's very rare that I see this, and you have this actually. You have this gift of leadership that's so strong that they can follow you.
Right.
Like it's so easy for someone to follow you and the things that you say because of the influence that God is pouring into you.
Right.
And I mean, just obviously seeing how just the baseball team and just athletics pouring in general of how God's using you, and then also using Logan, using Mike, shout out Mike. But just the call that God has on you is crazy, bro. And I just want to honor you for that and being obedient.
Right.
I think the chair slowly sunk down. I just noticed I'm getting shorter and shorter.
It's so funny. But
No, you're already 6'7", so.
Yeah. I'm not 6'7". I'm 6'3".
You are tall. You are tall.
Logan's taller than me.
Logan's 6'4". He's tall.
Yeah, he's taller than me.
He's a tall guy.
Possibly the mullet too.
Yeah, the mullet gives him some inches.
It adds some inches. The perm adds.
Yeah, the perm adds the inches.
Does he have perm?
Yeah.
That's why not.
He's got perm.
Hey, but no, that's the thing now, bro. Yeah. The perms.
I can't do it, man. I can't.
I can't do it either. I don't have enough hair for it.
I've got this straight hair. Now you don't, man.
Nah, I gotta shave my head and everything, bro. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But
I like it. I like that.
I ain't got a riz, no women. I got my wife. That's the only one I need a riz. You know what I'm saying? Nah, but just kind of landing the plane and everything.
Yeah.
Just the pod and everything, and just seeing how God's been able to use you, whether if it's relationships with your family, relationships with your friends. That maybe that future someone in the future, and I'm not saying names.
Oh,
just no ladies. Back off. And athletics wise, how God's been able to use you, discipleship, and just how you've been able to disciple young athletes, and also set an example of how to be a man of God. And God literally working in you, and not only just building you as a leader, but also a future father.
Right.
I definitely think you'll be a great father one day.
Thanks. Thank you. I feel like I have all the tools for that. So or I've seen it all. So
that's good.
Hopefully one day.
Yeah, and just thank you for being on here.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Definitely will want to have you back sometime.
Oh, yeah. Looking forward to
it. And just like I said, thankful for you to be on here, and thankful for you to share your story, and to just show how God used you, and just not only just during this season, but as a kid growing up and everything, and seeing Him work in your life has been crazy, bro.
Yeah.
But I kind of just want to start ending it here and everything, and I know a lot of times when we are listening to podcasts, sometimes we hear people's testimonies. And sometimes we hear the convos and we hear the things of someone's story that impacts our life.
Yes.
And it impacts the things that we're doing. And it also gives us this reflection of where we're able to kind of look in the mirror and go, like, how is my relationship with the Lord? And if anybody, and whether if you don't have a relationship, or whether if, like, especially like your friend that you baptized, where he was like I've been living in sin and I want to rededicate my life. Whether if it's those two options, we would love to pray for you, and just kind of end the pod out like that. So we'll go ahead and bow our heads and everything. And dear God, we just thank you so much, God. We thank you for letting us be able to breathe, Lord, and for you to be able to use us in any way possible, Lord. God, I pray for this person that's on the other side of the screen, Lord, that they're able to seek you and they're able to see you, Lord, that anything that they've heard in this pod that has touched their lives, where they go, Lord, I need more of you, God, that you make yourself available to them, that they're able to see you and they're able to live for you. And if anybody, Lord, is whether if they're not saved or they're wanting to rededicate their life, Lord, I pray that you meet them in the middle, so that way they're able to make that step and to be able to seek you and to love you and to have a relationship with you. I pray for blessings and favor over them, God. I pray for vision and clarity, and to remove the scales over their eyes that the enemy has placed, Lord, and that they be able to see you, God, and they be able to see you for who you are and for what you do, that you're a loving God, a caring God, that you're Jehovah Rapha, you're Jireh, you're Abba the Father, you're Yahweh, you're Yeshua. And Lord, we're so thankful for you, God. We're so thankful for all you do. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you so much, guys, and I hope y'all have a blessed day.